To the drama on Capitol Hill yesterday after telling Maria Bartiromo he's an innocent man in an exclusive interview on this program earlier this week, Martin Shkreli pleaded the Fifth in a hearing before Congress. He smirked and grinned instead of answering questions from the House Oversight Committee. But just 5 minutes after he got up and left, leaving Congress, he took to Twitter to voice his experience, tweeting, "Hard to accept that these imbeciles represent the people in our government." Joining us now is North Carolina Congressman and member of the House Oversight Committee, Mark Walker. Congressman, good morning.
Good morning, Sandra. Good to be with you.
So what did you make of Mr. Shkreli's reaction, the facial expressions, the smirking, and quite frankly, just his dismissal of talking to Congress altogether?
Yeah, it was quite astonishing. I've talked to guys that have been there for 20, 25, 30 years. They had never seen anything like it. Even when the ranking member, Elijah Cummings, was asking him a question, he was turned facing 14 photographers or more, kind of posing for them. It was quite amazing.
What does that tell you, Congressman?
Well, it tells a little bit about his attitude and his lackluster approach of what's important. Now, I will also go and say it wasn't just about Martin Shkreli there. It was also about the FDA. People like Martin are allowed to manipulate the markets when the FDA is not pushing through some of these manufacturers. Right now, there are close to 3,000 pharmaceutical manufacturers that have been waiting as long as 4 years, 3.5 to 4 years, to get some of the product on the market. What Mr. Shkreli did was manipulate the market, raising his price of his pills from $13 to $750 a piece.
So overall, what was the biggest takeaway from that hearing, in your opinion?
Well, I think Charles Payne addressed it yesterday afternoon pretty well. When government gets involved, sometimes it can even create more costs. I guess the driving point of this is making sure that the regulation agencies are moving in a manner that allows the free markets to move as quickly as possible.
Well, Congressman, that's a great tease. We've actually got Charles Payne coming up in the next hour for the full hour. We'll talk to him about this and the jobs report coming up. But I want to bring in my guests this hour. Jack Otter, you've been following this story. The congressman was there reacting to the gestures that he observed from Mr. Shkreli and the takeaway about the FDA as well.
Well, I do want to pick up on that point about regulation. So there was an interesting op-ed in the Journal about 2 weeks ago where the writer, and I can't recall the company, but it's a generic drug firm, and he said he could make this same compound for 99 cents a pill that Shkreli is charging $750 for. So clearly there are ways we could change regulations to allow these things to get through quicker. Now, we have all heard the horror stories. People are given a drug that damages them far worse than the disease it was supposed to cure. So I don't want to go to a situation where you can just throw drugs out there. No, after a few people die, the free market will decide we're not going to buy that anymore. Drugs are different from other products, but still there's a way to accelerate the process.
So, Congressman, what do you make of that? I mean, what happens now? Can there be changes in regulations?
Yes, I think there can be, and part of the House oversight is making sure that the FDA and other agencies are expediting in a way that it benefits the American public. We don't go after the free markets and capitalism. As crude as it is and as greedy as Martin Shkreli is, he's allowed to drive up that price. What he's not allowed to do is continue to manipulate. I know there's other charges as far as him defrauding investors, but the other factor that hasn't been talked about, a lot of this Duraprim is paid on Medicare, which is a taxpayer's funding, so that does put a little bit different dimension as far as what kind of oversight we have on this situation.
Hey, Congressman, seeing Martin Shkreli over the course of the last several months, kind of what I saw yesterday didn't really surprise me. So when you called him down to testify there, did you guys kind of think you were going to get more openness from him, or was it kind of expected that he was going to come in and not really plead the Fifth and not really give too much information?
We didn't know at the last minute that he was going to plead the Fifth. This has been a negotiation process going on for 5 months, but he really showed why he's one of the most hated guys in the country.
Wow.
His mindset, I guess in the words of the Wu-Tang Clan, cash rules everything around me.
Well, you know who doesn't think he's the most hated guy in the country is his lawyer. His lawyer actually thinks he's a bit of a hero.
Yeah. What's so disappointing, though, is if you think that, okay, this is the CEO of
a pharmaceutical company. You know, granted, he's only 32 years old, but you would expect better behavior. These are drugs that are saving people's lives. And the fact that he sat there, you could see why other CEOs of pharmaceutical companies are going to be very upset that he's giving them and the industry a bad name. And so to me, that is something that to see someone who has his authority, has his position, and to smirk and sit there and act like that, to me, it's just unacceptable behavior, and you just can't allow that and don't expect that from a CEO. To be clear, Congressman, the only question that he answered before he got up and left was how to correctly pronounce his name, Shkreli. He made that very clear. All right, move this forward for us. Wrap this up, Mark.
Yes, I did ask the executive there that was there with Turing. I said, do you not have a code of conduct for your shareholders, or in this case, the CEO? Come to find out, they had only installed one just about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
All right. Congressman, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandra.
All right. Well